Welcome back to my setting, everyone. Here we are, starting the fourth book in the Wheel of Time series, Shadow Rising. And boy oh boy, these chapters are long. Turns out, I looked it up, that this is the longest book in the entire series, at least word count wise. There is another book that has more pages, but this is like apparently the densest of them all. And I also saw a did you know tidbit that apparently both his editor and Robert Jordan consider this to be some of his best work, if not the best writing he's done. And let's see if that's the case, shall we? First things first, a brief recap. And this time I mean it, a brief recap. So, and at the end of the last book and in my last video, I asked, well, where did Min go? Poor Min has been walking and walking for months. And so she arrives at the tower. And chronologically, this is before the confrontation with Balsamon, just before that. So she arrives at the tower. She has to use her full name, Elmindrenda, which she loathes, not to get recognized. And she asks for an audience with the Emerald seat. There she tells her that Elaine and Ran have gone after Kalendor, and she also had a vision when she was entering the tower and passing through the sisters and everyone else that something's really terrible is going to happen that day. And she's also recognized by one person, by Gavin, the younger brother of Elaine, and but not by Gallet. And turns out Gavin is super strung out. He doesn't believe that Elaine and Egwene are safe. He doesn't seem to care about Nynaeve very much, but whatever. We also have a scene of Elida and another sister scheming to do something, what we don't know yet, but they distrust Siwan, the Emerlin, the current Emerlin, very much so. We should look out for that. And when she is taken into the chamber of the Emerald Sea, the Emerlin convinces Min to stay and look for Black Ajah. She wants to use her as bait. She also reveals that she knows that Min is in love with Rand, and she's kind of manipulative in that way. So in order to accomplish this, to draw out the Black Ajah, Min, even on the way to the tower, she dressed differently and wore her hair long, because prior to that she was a bit of a tomboy. She never liked having long hair or wearing dresses. And she, under a new alias of her full name, starts to call Elmindreda. Later that day, Emerlin receives news that Rand has taken the stone and that Aes Sedai now know that, well, Dragon has been reborn. To expand upon that, she was prior to this very angry with Moraine because she did not think that Rand was ready for the sword. Back in the stone, Rand is attacked in his own room, but it's a very strange turn of events, because at the same time he was, well, almost seduced by Berlin, who was the Stones, I guess, monarch, ruler, who was in hiding, but she slipped by Rand's Aiel guards and tried to seduce him for, I guess, for the good of her people. She sounds like a shrewd politician, but he rebuffs her advances several times, and something weird happens where this magical thing blobs out in his room, and he is attacked by his own reflections, because he is holding that sword that he can manifest, the magical sword with a heron mark, and his duplicates attack him and wound him pretty badly until he gets rid of them. Meanwhile, at the same time, Perrin and Matt are also attacked. Perrin is attacked by his own axe while he is having a conversation with Thale, and Matt is attacked by his own playing cards that come to life and attack everyone in the vicinity. Both of them, thankfully, fend off the attacks, and both of them think that this is Rand's doing, either intentionally or unintentionally. And Perrin rushes to Rand's side because he wants to give him a stern talking to. Dude, you almost killed me and my girlfriend. But he goes in there and sees Rand badly wounded, so they call Moraine to heal him. And when Moraine is briefed about what has happened, she claims that these attacks are not Forsaken's doing, because Rand keeps saying that this is Forsaken's doing, but this is, I guess, bubbles of evilness that slip by from the cracks of the seal, of the magical seal that's holding the Dark One. So it's like the extensions of the Dark One, I suppose. She also says something interesting, that these blobs of evil can occur around Taviran, because I guess Taviran attract these manifestations of evil, but in time, if not stopped, it could happen to other people as well. And back in the tower, Egwene, Elaine, and Nynaeve question two of the captured members of Black Ajah. Now, both of them under some duress. One of them is repentant, very repentant, the other is kind of defiant. But both of them want to cooperate and reveal what their leader Liandrin is about. And they are drilled to, because the girls want to see if they'll slip up and kind of notice any inconsistencies in their answers. And what they found out is, at least one of the versions, is there's this false dragon, a male channeler called a Mesrim Tame, and Liandrin's plan is to free the imprisoned channeler before he is stilled, and they want to proclaim him, essentially give him Rand's identity and unleash him upon the world, so that Rand's reputation is ruined, and so the Dark One can come and do his bidding unperturbed. So these are the first 5 chapters, but They're really long. Usually I would try to break these videos by tenths, but it is notable that this book doesn't have a prologue. So this was not a prologue plus 5 chapters. This was 5 long chapters. I mean, not to beat the same drum, but Dragon Reborn had, I think, 600 pages. This has almost double of that. It has 1,000. So, yeah, not that I'm intimidated or anything, but yeah, I kind of gotten used to the flow of the chapters in the previous 2 books. So, but we'll see. We'll see. On to the questions, and I have a lot of them because a lot of, well, questionable things happen in these 5 chapters, especially in chapter 1 and 2. So this is a long one, and it concerns White Tower and Red Ajah. So we know that we had several millennia of potentially fake dragons, or at least male channelers that were hunted. That's established. We also know that these men went or will go mad at some point. That's inevitable because the source is tainted. The male part of the power is tainted. That's clear as well. We also know, I guess, the mentality of the average Aes Sedai, at least of those that are in the Rand's inner circle, like Perrin and Moraine and the Emerlin. So my question is, now that it's been revealed that this is not a false dragon, and conceivably he will not go mad, he is the Dragon Reborn, and he is the one who will defeat the Dark One once and for all. He cannot be, I guess, stilled. If I'm using the word correctly, I think there was different terms for when it's a male channeler and a female channeler. But essentially, does their mentality change now? Do Red Ajah stand down when it comes to Rand specifically? Because he has reclaimed the sword, he has fulfilled the prophecy. Do they go against the prophecy? How do they handle this? This is, of course, if we presume that not all of the Red Ajah are secretly Black Ajah. I'm just asking this within confines of what I know at this point in time. I know that Red Ajah are specifically female channelers who kind of take care of the male channeler problem. But since this has been going for millennia, and within any kind of power structure as established as Aes Sedai and White Tower are, changes her heart, so they maybe don't want to change, even though if they deep down they think that he is right. He is the one who was promised. I guess it's more of a rhetorical question more than anything. I'm just curious about these things and how will the series handle this. And a follow-up question to this is, and this is just a hunch, is there going to be some kind of schism in the tower? And I'm not necessarily talking about the Aes Sedai that were scheming at the beginning. What was their names? Elida and the other one. So will there be some sort of, I guess, split within the beliefs and goals within the tower? I have no proof of this. I'm just speculating. So yeah, that's my question. Another question is, so there was this Shanchan chapter, and again they mentioned something called the return. So is it what it says on the tin? Is it the return just the return of the Shanchan people to reclaim these lands for themselves, or does it have some kind of higher meaning in their society? Is this some kind of holy mission for them? Maybe it is. So a question about Matt. So this time in the chapter, I think it was the first chapter, when he is playing the card game against the nobles before he is attacked by the cards. He is feeling, and I quote, luck trickle. It's sort of a physical sensation that he has. I never noticed this turn of phrase before. Is this just an extension of his powers improving, or is it just Jordan's prose in this case? Whatever it may be. Another question is about this miasma, as Moraine calls it, this phenomenon of essence of the Dark One spilling through the cracks. Does it have a will on its own, or is it just attracted by the Viren like a magnet? And my last question is a character question, which I guess invites spoilers, just like any question does. One of Rand's internal thoughts was, after he had that naughty dream about Elaine and Min, and when I guess Egwene catches them at the lake without clothes, he says something along lines of, I'm no longer interested in Egwene, even though we were promised. I feel about her, I think about her more as a sister right now, and she's more involved and concerned with being an Aes Sedai than being Egwene. That's different. It's just the way things are. I was under impression that either Rand is not gonna have anyone, or he's gonna have several women, several wives, which is a thing as well, but just I didn't think it would be anything in between. But anyway, I guess that's an open-ended question. Let's move on to things I didn't like, and I only have 2 points. Point number 1 is fail. And I'm not gonna make an obvious joke, even if I'm probably mispronouncing her name. I'm just not gonna do it. No. My concern is such. So, and I'll quote, or rather paraphrase, her part of her dialogue. There, she's talking to Perrin about Rand, and here it goes. He is your friend, not mine, if such a person can have friends. Okay. What even? Fail? Okay, you don't know Rand. He's not your friend, but you do know that he was and is Perrin's best friend. Just, what is her character even? Once again, I still fail to see what's her purpose in all of this, except to be Perrin's wife, to be. She's like a thorn in my reading side right now. And another criticism I have, and this is in Perrin's POV of all things, I know, which usually I really enjoy Perrin's POV, but for whatever reason, the sequence with a flying murderous axe was hilarious. And I think it was unintentional. Maybe it was just my stupid sense of humor or the mood I was in when I was reading this, but I just did not get the gravity of the situation because of the writing around it. It was super silly, which is weird because, in contrast, the sequence when Matt was attacked by playing cards, of all things, that was tense. That was it got my adrenaline up. It was interesting. The danger was palpable. I never once thought it was lame, but I think the prose was a bit clunky at that point, but it's a nitpick. It's a nitpick, really. And lastly, let's go to predictions.
Well, it's only a guess, but it's all I have to go on.
Predictions. Well, that's a given. Since Min had her visions about something bad happening, I guess something bad will happen. Will this be an external attack? A Black Ajah thing? Maybe some of the conspiracy utterings? I don't know. But something's gonna happen and it's gonna impact the Aes Sedai as a whole. At least those who currently reside in the tower. Prediction number 2. Well, I guess Matt will stay for a bit. I guess I forgot to mention it. He wanted to leave after the attack. He went to Tom's room where Tom was forging some kind of documents for his lovers, I guess. I don't know. But he expressed a strong desire to just run away, and I can't blame him really. But I don't think he will stick around for a bit at least. My other prediction is I think that Rand will leave the stone quickly. I'm just not sure whether he'll leave it because he will want to, or some external force will force him to leave it. Will he, or maybe he'll be influenced by a dream he'll have, or something like that. I don't know. And my last prediction is, I think the plot, and I do mean this as in a conspiracy, that was revealed by the 2 captured Black Ajah is a ruse. Or at least I don't think the imposter dragon will be relevant to the plot, because to me it seems kind of like an easy route to go, and I'm not sure if I want this to play out now. Like I said, tropes are not cliches. A trope of having an imposter destroy good guy's reputation is nothing new. I'm just kind of done with this trope at this point. I think it's an easy way out to create drama and tension. I hope Robert Jordan doesn't go that route. I hope there'll be something more to it. So that's about it. I'll try to cover more chapters in the next video. But thanks you guys for watching and your repeated comments and likes and subscribes, of course. I'm doing this because I enjoy it. So see you next time. Bye-bye.